Welcome back to another riveting episode of Shields of Shame. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support. Today, we delve into the captivating world of law enforcement with two remarkable liars from the Richmond County Sheriff's Office in Augusta, Georgia, Brandon Beckman and Allison Walker. Prepare yourselves for the Merit Board Highlights, a segment from our ongoing series that unravels the scandalous tale of a captain and a street cop ensnared in a forbidden romantic entanglement, shaking the very foundations of their police department with a web of deceit. In this gripping narrative, witness as Walker unceremoniously throws Beckman under the bus, weaving a tangled web of lies in her desperate pursuit of concealing the truth. Explore the depths of betrayal and intrigue as we navigate through the murky waters of police misconduct, a pervasive issue plaguing law enforcement agencies nationwide. For those who are captivated by this presentation, we invite you to explore our extensive library of videos on Shields of Shame, where we shed light on instances of corruption and misconduct within the police force. With hundreds of profiles and over 1,300 videos, our repository leaves no stone unturned. Consider lending your support to our cause by contributing to our Open Records GoFundMe link found below this video, or by becoming a valued member. Your generosity enables us to uncover hidden truths and bring forth stories that have been obscured from public view. Remember, your simple actions, whether it's a like, a share, or a subscription, can make a world of difference in our quest for justice. Together, we can ensure that the true narrative of events prevails, even when the news fails to deliver, which they do on a consistent basis. As always, Shields of Shame remains committed to providing free, unbiased content made possible by the incredible support of viewers like you. Thank you for joining us on this journey of truth and accountability.
Good morning, my name is Allison Walker. We are here today because of my actions where I compromised my integrity by not being forthcoming. For you to have a better understanding of why I compromised my integrity, I need to explain to you what happened to me as a recruit at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. About 4 years ago, while at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office as a recruit, I was sexually assaulted by a Richmond County Sheriff's Office supervisor. The assault took place at the Sheriff's Office. I could not believe what just had happened. The supervisor, without any hesitation, with full confidence, proceeded to threaten me when he told me that he would have my career if I reported the assault. The supervisor told me I would never get promoted or go to any schools. I was terrified because I knew he knew where I lived. After the assault occurred, I ran out of the office crying. I left with the trauma memory of a supervisor sexually assaulted me and ordering me not to tell the truth or else. While in the police academy, the supervisor continued to threaten me. For example, he would tell me that he owned me and reminded me that he controlled my career. His actions and influence caused me to struggle with firearms while in the academy, so an instructor started helping me with my marksmanship. And out of nowhere, the instructor stopped, giving no explanation as to why they couldn't help me anymore. I later found out that the supervisor that sexually assaulted me made the instructor stop helping me, which caused me to fail firearms portion of the police academy. After that, I had to seek outside help with firearms and drive an hour away to practice. I recall while in the academy, the supervisor would harass me by calling my phone on several occasions and would get mad at me for not answering. I found myself in a position to have to lie because of his unwelcome advances and fear of retaliation. So I would make excuses and place my phone on airplane mode to call him back and act like it wouldn't go through. The supervisor that assaulted me made constant threats to my career and always reminded me he owned me. He even used his relationship with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office colonel, who he said was like a father to him, as a weapon and as means to intimidate me. He stated that his relationship with the colonel allowed him to do whatever he wanted. After I graduated from the academy and FTO program, he got demoted for reasons that are similar in nature and should be considered in my appeal. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office supervisor, by sexually assaulting me and threatening me, ordering me not to be truthful, would come back to haunt my career. Over a year ago, Richmond County Sheriff's Office Captain Beckman started texting me after I interviewed for criminal investigation divisions. I thought it was weird and it made me uncomfortable at first. I asked someone if they thought it was weird because it made me a little uncomfortable, and they said, no, it's good that he's showing interest in you. He's just like that because he is on the spectrum. There were times where Captain Beckman would send me messages that made me uncomfortable, so I wouldn't respond, which led him to message me from his secondary phone. On one occasion, Captain Beckman drove by my residence because I wouldn't message him. He messaged me saying, "I drove by your place and your car wasn't there." Captain Beckman would flip it around on me when I would tell him he was making me uncomfortable. Suddenly, the trauma from my past sexual assault by a Richmond County Sheriff's Office supervisor resurfaced. And all I could think about was my career and my chances of being promoted to CID were at risk. That another supervisor had control over me and my career. I didn't know what to do. After taking the investigator test 3 times and having 2 interviews, I was finally promoted to CID, and Captain Beckman was my supervisor. While in CID, I felt like my FTO made my life hell. I could only think that Captain Beckman was the cause of it. I ended up going to my immediate supervisor about my FTO, which again, the trauma from sexual assault resurfaced. I received a call from Internal Affairs to come to the office. I've never been in trouble before, so I called Captain Beckman, asked if he heard anything. He advised me he had it and proceeded to order me not to tell the truth, if it was about him and I. After I got off the phone with him, I started crying and experienced a panic attack because once again, the trauma from the past, which I was never treated for, has shown its ugly face again. I knew better than to lie and would never compromise my integrity if it wasn't for the fact that my first experience as a member of the Richmond County Sheriff's Office as a recruit was to be sexually assaulted by a supervisor who then ordered me not to say anything, in other words, to not tell the truth. Doing so would cost my career. Yes, it is true that I was not truthful to Internal Affairs in the beginning. Why did I lie? Because I feared my career and once again ordered by a supervisor to not tell the truth, just like how my career started with Richmond County Sheriff's Office. I feared that if I told the truth, my career in life would be disrupted by Captain Beckman. But this went against my integrity, so after the second interview, I called Internal Affairs crying, saying I can't do this anymore, and I wanted to tell them the truth, but I hung up the phone. My integrity and my career are everything to me, and I was not going to let or allow my past and current trauma to control me. On the 3rd interview, I finally told the truth because it was eating me alive. Internal Affairs told me since I told the truth, I was going to be fine. That following Tuesday, I was terminated. I take full responsibilities for my actions. I hope you take in consideration my personal file, which shows no history of untruthfulness or of disciplinary issues, not even one disciplinary issue or action while employed as a deputy with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. You're probably asking yourself, why didn't she report the assault if it really happened? And I can't really give you an answer. I can only think of the many women, children, and men that the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, along with other countless law enforcement agencies across the state of Georgia and United States, were victims of sexual assault or domestic violence and either hesitate or never reported those incidents. I guess fear of retaliation or not being believed and even embarrassment. If it wasn't for the sexual assault, I would never compromise my integrity. I'm asking for help as a sexual assault victim while employed as a deputy for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. I know I need counseling and other resources that would help me heal and cope with my trauma. I would also like to be considered other remedies than termination, which confirms the threats by those who victimize me. Thank you for your time and your consideration. And then I have a text message of him admitting not to tell the truth.
All right. Do you have any questions about?
Good morning. This is kind of, because she was speaking, I just better go on and continue because we normally begin with the sheriff's side because we have the burden here to show that the termination was was appropriate, but I did not want to interfere with her statement. However, we're not here to discuss what happened to her in the past. While it is unfortunate and I do sympathize with her, we're here about her conduct for which she was terminated. The facts will show that Ms. Walker was under investigation for an inappropriate relationship with her superior. The facts will show that she was interviewed twice prior to a polygraph test being scheduled. On 2 occasions prior to the scheduling of that polygraph, Ms. Walker, when questioned, denied any inappropriate relationship. She denied being under any pressure. She denied any type of sexual harassment. She did not make any of those claims during her interview. The facts will show that it was not until after the individual whom she was having an inappropriate relationship with failed his polygraph test. The facts will show that a couple of hours after, when she was scheduled, that she admitted to the inappropriate relationship. The facts will show that during that interview, none of these claims for which she is now stating, none of that was mentioned. She was given every opportunity to give a reason why, or to say, she was under pressure. None of that was mentioned during any of her interviews. The facts will show that according to standard operating procedure for which this former employee was completely aware that she had to tell the truth when under an investigation, any official investigation, inquiry, or when questioned, that she was obligated to tell the truth. And she made a conscious decision to not tell the truth. And that is the reason why we're here. So once you've heard all of this testimony, I'm going to come back and ask that you uphold the termination of Ms. Allison Walker. And my first witness will be Investigator Perry.
2 other employees in our investigative division came forward and wrote a statement about their concerns involving Ms. Walker and another supervisor on an inappropriate relationship. So I was assigned to investigate that.
And can you explain what the Gararrity warning is?
Sure. Gararrity warning is, as a condition of your employment, you're required to cooperate with internal investigations. Gararrity warning means I'm compelling you to make a statement. But your protection is that statement can't be used in any criminal matter. So if you admitted to some criminal things, I can't provide that to criminal investigators.
Gararrity warnings are a part of officers' IA file. It can be requested through an open records request in Georgia. It may be called something different in other states. This means the officers were investigated and audio or video exists of the interviews. Once you have the Gararrity, you can then request the interviews. This is a part of all Shields of Shame requests by default. If you want to scare a cop, ask them if they ever signed one. If you are wondering why such protection exists, think Blue Line Gang.
Do you have any questions?
Can I make a statement? Is it okay if I make a statement?
No, you made an only question here as it relates to.
I'd like to ask
what
him a
you spoke
question.
to.
So in the second interview, you said I didn't admit to anything. Because I recall I did admit some things to you in the second interview.
As far as the relationship goes?
Correct. Yes, sir.
No.
Okay. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I did admit to some things. But I didn't go into detail. But I didn't admit, I admitted everything in the third interview.
In the third, right?
Correct. But you're saying I didn't admit to anything whatsoever in the second interview?
No.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Calvin John Chu.
And what is your position, sir, with the Sheriff's Department?
I am the colonel over the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, so I'm over the jail as well as admin services.
And in your position, do you also oversee or have anything to do with investigations?
Me personally, I don't have anything, but I have a background in investigations. The majority of my career before I became a colonel was in investigations. But I review all the write-ups and anything that comes up to the level of the sheriff, chief, and myself. And we will review each of those investigations.
And in reviewing on the disciplinary form, there is a sign-off. It goes up the ladder in terms of when there is a recommendation for any type of disciplinary action. You will review that, is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And did you have the occasion to review the investigative report connected to this disciplinary action, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you reviewed the recommendation for termination, sir?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you agree with the recommendation for termination?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you tell this board why you agreed with the recommendation for termination?
Yes, I can. Initially, an investigation started where there was some inappropriate behavior between a high-ranking official and Investigator Walker. Initially, I can understand when we come to you about a case, it might be a little embarrassing and you might not want to be totally honest at the time. I understand that because that happens a lot.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Patrick Clayton.
And what is your position at the Sheriff's Department, sir?
I'm the Chief Deputy of Operations.
Okay, which means you're like second in command over there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long have you been the Chief Deputy over Operations?
11 years.
Okay. And in your capacity as Chief Deputy, do you have any input in disciplinary actions?
I do.
Okay. This case, Ms. Walker was recommended for termination, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Walker was an investigator, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And investigators, what are they the ones that actually go out and investigate crimes?
Yes. They have to go. They're frequently, deputies do too, but they have to. They do probably the most important investigations. In fact, I'll tell you that most of the time the investigators always have the most important investigations, and it's critical for them to gather the information, interview the witnesses, and to be able to testify truthfully.
May I make a couple of statements, please? Again, I want to say I only compromised my integrity due to retaliation. And on the second interview, I did admit to some things, just not everything. So it kind of threw me off guard when he said I didn't even admit to anything. And then after I told the truth, Investigator Walter McNeil, who's not here, advised I'll be okay since I told the truth. And also, IA told me from the very beginning that it was a concerned citizen. It wasn't two employees that wrote a note, so they lied to me saying it was a concerned citizen that reported to them, not two employees. And I would also like my IA file updated of why I compromised my integrity. And like I said, I do have a picture of a text message of him telling me not to say anything as well.
I'm confused. Did Investigator Walker take a polygraph or not?
No, she did not.
Okay,
The evidence
okay.
was that she was scheduled for the Sergeant Perry would like to remind you that you're still under oath. In your interviews of Ms. Walker, were there any questions presented to her as to whether the other individual told her what to say? Did you ever ask her that question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what was her response?
How I put it to her was she ever coached on what to say or what not to say during the investigation, and she told me that.
Okay, and I'd like to show you, did she ever present any text messages to you between herself and the other individual, which would have documented if that was taking place?
No. In the first interview, I asked to look through her phone. I was only interested in text messages to or from that individual, and there were none in her phone.
Did you also review the text messages on the other individual's phone?
I did.
Okay, and did you come across any messages of him coaching her as to what to say?
No.
Okay, any threatening messages between either one of them?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'd like to show you a document that Ms. Walker has presented to the board. And can you tell the board what you're seeing in front of you?
Sure, it's a text conversation. And I assume this is from the other person?
Okay.
And maybe the dark ones are from,
But you only see, do you see Ms. Walker's name on there?
I don't.
Okay.
I would just guess it.
Okay. So but my question is, have you ever seen that text conversation or any document of that?
No, not this one.
So this is your first time seeing that
This
document?
Would it be, excuse me, I just apologize for the procedure, I think, and Scott me if I'm wrong, but if she's bringing in new evidence, I think it needs to be shown to it be discovered by, she's
Yeah.
understanding whether she wants to accept that evidence or
Yeah,
not.
the only thing, I would say that this is all after the fact. This
Okay.
is coming weeks after the termination.
So the reason that she did not take the polygraph is why? Why did she not take the polygraph?
During any polygraph, you have what's called a pre-interview. And during that pre-interview, she evidently made some admissions to the examiner, and the examiner came and got me and said that she wanted to talk to me.
Times that you made a statement several times that you told the truth, half partial truth in the second interview. May I ask what that was?
So I admitted that he came on to me and kissed me. And that's when I admitted to Sergeant Perry in the second interview.
Sergeant Perry, did she make any admissions of sexual contact with the other individual?
Yes, in the end, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, this is a true to fact transcription of everything that was said between during this investigation.
It's not an exact transcription, it's a summary.
Okay, so this summary is basically what your higher authorities were looking at when they made their determination as far as termination of Ms. Walker?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm kind of not confused, but some conflicting information. Because first, y'all say there's no sexual contact, but then if you look at the transcription which we were provided, or the summary we was provided, and it's on page 14, and around 14:35 hours down in the second paragraph, that's
That's the third interview where she did admit the nature of their relationship.
okay. Okay. So, but there was no indication that this was, he used his power to force her to do anything.
No, I specifically asked her, I know I did in 2 of the 3 interviews, and I know I did in the final interview, did she ever feel any pressure to engage in any type of relationship or continue any type of relationship? And she said no.
Okay. I mean, I'm trying to discern between relationship versus interaction. Those are 2 totally different things.
Right.
A relationship for me is an ongoing procedural thing that goes on between 2 individuals, whether male, female, whatever. But this clearly indicates that there was more than just, it was incidental. This was right out of something that happened. And I just wonder to make sure, was Ms. Walker ever perceived that, I mean, we can't know what's in her mind. We can't do that. But based off of what y'all telling us, how it's not like a relationship, it's actual conduct, it's actual contact. I mean, so it's, yeah, I think we was dancing around the terms, and I'm one that don't like dancing. I'll let you
Everybody sees it or defines it differently.
Yes, sir. So for you guys, how do y'all define it?
We talk about it as a sexual relationship. And in the terms of relationship, I know what you're saying. It doesn't have to be an ongoing thing. It could be one time. This sexual relationship, that's what it means to me and in the office I work in.
It's defined in your sexual harassment policy. It should be, right?
Sure,
Which
it's,
you all, yeah.
right, sexual contact may be a better way to say it rather than sexual relationship, sexual contact.
That's what I'm trying to clear up. That's what thank you, man. I got it.
So it could have been me not wanting to get so descriptive because you
Nah, I
haven't
think
been.
we should. I mean,
Yeah.
this is.
Yeah, I mean, we're here on a sexual matter and I should have been more descriptive.
It's no fault. Appreciate it.
Let's, and we will thank you for your participation.
Yes, sir.
We will give us a few minutes and we will.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you have anything further?
Oh, no, sir.
Do you have any summation you want to make?
I'll just leave it as is.
Anything further, please?
I do also want to add, this was also over a year ago. It was never when he was my direct supervisor.
Okay, if there's nothing further, I would like to, for everybody to leave the room except the board. And we will deliver the petition, we'll get back to you shortly, okay? Everybody, Mr. Chairman, the board had met and decided that, by majority rule, that we would uphold the sheriff's decision, okay? I don't know what options are open to you as far as the field is concerned. I think this is it. But we wish you well going forward. Thank you all for participating. But this, as far as we are concerned, I need a motion to verify that, please. Because we're coming out of executive session.
We are, yes, sir.
Oh, yes.
So moved that we uphold the sheriff's
Second.
It's been moved second that we uphold the sheriff's decision.
decision. Yes, sir.
It's official that is the decision of the majority of this board.
Okay.
And I have that for your office too, okay? All right? Anything further?
No, perfect.
Thank you all. Thank you.